Well, hello and welcome to a very special race here today. We have some marvellous machines down on the grid that in just a few moments will be accelerating up to some really high speeds indeed to compete for a prestigious Grand Prix victory. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. I for one can't wait to get started, and there's another very excited little chap here beside me as well. It's our very own Anthony Davidson. Great to see you again today.
Thanks for that, Crofty, and I'm really anxious to get underway here. We've got all the makings of a great race today. World champions in competitive cars, lots of drivers on form, and I suspect a few strategists on the pit wall looking to try something a bit different and maybe jump their cars up the order.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, and Verstappen, Perez, Stroll, Hülkenberg, and Kevin Magnussen. Grosjean, Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen, Sainz, Ericsson, Fernando Alonso, and Brendan Hartley. Sirotkin and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
You can run side by side into the Rettifilio, but don't brake too late on these cold tyres or you will hit someone.
Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 13 of the F1 2020 Charles Leclerc mod career mode, where today we're here back at the Temple of Speed, the home of Ferrari. This is a must-win race for so many reasons here today. We head to Monza and really looking forward to be jumping into this race here today. If you missed out on the last video from the Belgian Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It was quite an interesting one, quite a crazy one, and yeah, we definitely need some redemption here today. We cannot afford to let Lewis Hamilton start making even more points gains on us at the moment. You know, he's got already a 19-point lead in the Drivers' Championship. Mercedes 30 points up in the Constructors. We need a 1-2, or at the very least a win here today to try and keep our title hopes alive. But I'm ready then. I just want to jump straight into this here today. Starting P4 on the grid for this Italian Grand Prix. The 5 lights are coming on now then. It is 5 red lights, and it is going to be lights out. And away we go. There a little bit of a wheel spinny getaway as Albon gets off to an absolute flyer off the start there on the run down towards someone. He's going to slot in straight next to Bottas into the first corner there. He's going to go for a bit of a send at the inside of the Mercedes. A fantastic getaway for Albon there. Bottas runs over the curbs on the inside through the first couple of corners. So we then re-inherit P4 in this Grand Prix there. So a good little start for ourselves in the end. You know, we kept it clean and tidy. Now we've got to try and cover Bottas off as we head down into the second chicane. But look at Albon. Fantastic getaway. He's now trying to apply the pressure to Hamilton, and he's made the move stick. So Albon at 3 places off the start of this Grand Prix there. It looks like my teammate Sebastian's trying to check out as we make a bit of a mistake into the first Lesmo there. Bottas going to be able to get back at the inside of us. Sit on the apex there. It's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between the pair of us. Can we get the legs on him as we head down into Ascari? It looks like we've got quite a good run this time round. And we do hold on back around the outside there. But yeah, Albon and Hamilton side by side into Ascari for the first time in this Grand Prix there. We get a little bit loose over the curbing just behind him there, but a dream start for my teammate Sebastian Vettel here, as we've still got Bottas trying to look past there. We go very aggressively, making it quite clear that we're not going to allow him to move in towards the final corner of the opening lap. But yeah, an okay start for ourselves then. Seb's already got like a 2-second lead on the end of lap 1, but we need to stick with Albon here, potentially get a run on him down towards turn 1. Him and Hamilton going to go side by side. We're just going to bail out that one into the first corner there, get a little bit loose over the curbing. Bottas once again, ever the opportunist, can't quite make the move stick this time around though. But yeah, we need to try and make progress in this Grand Prix. We need to try and get past these two as quickly as possible here, especially Lewis Hamilton, as Bottas again just getting in the way that Albon parks it through the next corner. That's going to be a bit of front wing damage for us, hopefully. Shouldn't cost us too much, though. Oh, yellow flags out already here. Who's dropping to the wayside in this Grand Prix? It looks to be, I think, the Red Bull of Max Verstappen there, so not the way he wanted to head into this Italian Grand Prix. It's not meant to be the best track for Red Bull anyway there, but heartbreak for Verstappen. It just has not been his year so far. He's been outclassed all season long by Albon there, and it's going to be yet another hammer blow to his World Championship. Coming towards the end then of lap 3, the DRS obviously has been activated as well. We're doing everything we can to defend from Bottas at the moment, but we've got to be looking in front there. Albon sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, Bottas sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well there as we head down towards turn 1, but Albon doesn't quite seem to have the legs in that Red Bull to close up the gap to Lewis Hamilton just enough there. So it's going to make it even more difficult for ourselves. I'm honestly tempted to try and go for a bit of an undercut here, but it's more about just being in the slipstream, being in the DRS of the cars around you as, well, Bottas is still just hounding us at the moment. He seems to be a lot quicker, up until about 190 miles an hour, and then we finally seem to make gains there. A bit of a mistake through the second chicane there, weaving this way, and that's trying to defend from the Mercedes, man. We're just throwing everything at it at the moment here, and yeah, we're going to dive in, end of this lap, try and go for a bit of an undercut on the two in front of us here. As I mean, just Bottas piling on the pressure is really, really costing us. Just making sure we don't get the front wing changed. It's not worth the time loss around here. Slow it down on the marks, 50 miles an hour into the pit lane, and I think we are going to be the first car to dive in here. Obviously, tyre wear normally isn't that bad around this Italian Grand Prix circuit, so we should be okay. 2.4 second pit stop. That's exactly what we needed. Hopefully we'll come out in a bit of clear air as well in this Grand Prix, but 8 laps to go then here at Monza. We need to try and keep it nice, clean and tidy there as there's someone else breaking down the start-finish straight. That's the Mclaren of Sainz, who appears to be dropping out the Grand Prix as well. They're just behind us. But we come back out P18 then, hopefully. Russell next car at the road. Hopefully we won't have to sit behind him for very long. View of the AI then starting to pit. We've got Albon into the pit lane as well as, I think, Valtteri Bottas there as we head through the final corner of lap 5. It's been a fairly clean lap there. As you can see, Gasly and Russell just sat at the final corner. We're not even going to have the DRS on them. But as we head down towards turn 1, I think it was Hamilton that's dived it in. We need to try and get past these guys, but you can just see everyone just forming a wall into the first corner there. Russell might be able to get past Albon, and we've lost even more front wing on Gasly. This is not what we needed. We're just getting stuck behind the AI at the moment. Get out of the way, man. Round the outside of Gasly we go through Curva Grande there, but that was not what we needed at the moment. Albon's now ahead of us. He's trying to apply the pressure to George Russell. You can just see how much this front wing damage is costing us. Russell sits on the exit of the corner as well, and I'm guessing it's Hamilton then that had dived it in, and we have lost a lot of time to the pair of them. Need to get past Russell here though, nonetheless. He's going to sit in the middle of the road, no idea why, up the inside. And Russell completely tries to outbrake us there, but we're not having any of it. Through the corner, ooh, a bit of contact. And I think Russell's gone round. Of lap 6 then, what position are we going to move ourselves back up to? It's going to be about... Oh, don't say we've been jumped by Bottas as well. I completely forgot about him in this strategy here. Bottas down in towards turn 1. Big double lock up into the first corner. Can we get the nose up the inside though? Squeeze him out wide on the exit. We're up into P7 of the Grand Prix. Still got a couple more people to pit. It's a drag race between myself and Bottas as we head through turn 3. We should have the inside for the second chicane now. Once again, Bottas tries to hook it up around the outside, but we hold on. Dip a wheel and the gravel on the exit though, but we do hold on to effective P4 of the race. Last of the AI diving into the pit lane then. We're back up then into P4 of the Grand Prix, but 3.5 seconds behind Albon and Hamilton here. It's looking increasingly difficult there as once again we lock up into turn 1. Hang Bottas out to dry on the exit. Once again, now we've got, I think, one of the racing points trying to get into this battle. Then we've got Sergio Perez now all over the back of the pair of us here. It's becoming increasingly difficult at the moment with all this front wing damage just to try and defend, but we need to keep doing it. We're just losing so many points to Hamilton in the championship at the moment. We really do need a resurgence of form in this series, but luckily for us though, Seb still leading the way, so if all finished now, we would take some good points out of Mercedes in the Constructors. Heading on then to lap 10 of this Grand Prix. We just got over 3 laps to go at the moment, and we're slowly but surely, the laps to Albon in front are a bit inconsistent, but we're just trying to stay ahead of Bottas at the moment as we head back down into turn 1, just pushing like absolute crazy to stay ahead of the Mercedes man. If we can hold him at about half a second, and he can't normally gain enough on us down the straightaways, but yeah, really just trying to save PRS. We haven't got much fuel to play with either at the moment, so hopefully with a bit of luck we could close up to Albon, but I'm not optimistic.
Brilliant maneuver. 2 places at once.
As once again Bottas trying to go for the send. We have to play very dodgy on the defending, right on the limits of what is probably fair there. He's made a bit of a mistake before the first Lesmo, but we're holding on for now. But look at the run. Bottas able to get, actually guessing which side he was going to go there, and that was not what I had in mind. As we run way too deep into Ascari, we're just making all these mistakes at the moment, trying desperately to hold on to this position here. Now we've got to be careful about Perez
Keep them that way for as long as we can.
as well. It's all getting a little bit scrappy towards the end of this Grand Prix. Perez now up into P5, I should say, but they're both going to have the legs on us on the run down towards turn 1. Maybe not so much, actually. We'll just sit in the middle of the road. Perez going to try and stick it around the outside. We'll slam the door shut through the first corner, and we'll live to defend P4 for another day. Heading on then to the final lap of this Grand Prix. We got a little bit lucky that Perez and Bottas behind us have really started battling each other, which has allowed us to build up a bit of a margin here. But again, we haven't won a race since the Canadian Grand Prix. It has been such rough few weeks for us in this championship. I mean, you look back, Austria obviously had that contact with Hamilton right in the final stages of the race, which lost us a load of points. After that French Grand Prix, we had that weird spin in the car as well, which cost us the win to Bottas. Round 10, obviously back at Silverstone, just that spin at the start really cost us after a mistake in qualifying as well. What else have we had? Hungary, Hamilton completely mugged us on the final lap. Nothing we could do about that one. And then Spa last time, another contact with a Mercedes car. That time around it was Bottas as we went into a ruse side by side. And once again here, it's going to be my teammate Sebastian Vettel able to pick up the victory. What a resurgence of form he's had in the last few weeks. But fastest lap as well, right at the end from Sebastian. But Hamilton's going to come through and further extend his title margin over ourselves. Albon is going to come through for P3, and with all that front wing damage, honestly, we probably should be quite happy to hang on to P4 at the end of the day, but it is just increasingly frustrating at the moment. We need to start taking points out of Hamilton.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Probably Stoffel van Dorn. You know, strong pace, good work with the strategy, just a very complete drive, I think.
That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye, and see you again next time.
So there we are at the end of the Italian Grand Prix, and after obviously Charles Leclerc won the real-life race last season, Sebastian Vettel finally gets that result that he wanted with Ferrari there. It's P1 at the end of the day for him. We did take some points at Mercedes there. We'll have a look at how the championships are heading after today's race. But Hamilton, though, 7 seconds back in P2. Albon, a fantastic job by him to get up into P3 at the start and then hold on to it. We come through for P4 ahead of Bottas there. Perez, Stroll, Raikkonen, Ricciardo and Grosjean round out the top 10 there with Ocon, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, Norris, Latifi, Gasly, Magnussen and Russell there, with then Sainz and Verstappen both not making it to the end of the Grand Prix. But that now means 25 points back from Lewis Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship. As we head into the flyaway season, we really need to try and take some points out of him consistently week in, week out. Further around us though, Seb now jumps Bottas up into P3 in the championship there. Perez jumps past Ocon as well there to slot in as second best of the rest behind Daniel Ricciardo after his brilliant podium way back at Silverstone there. And Stroll, with that good result, jumps past Pierre Gasly as well further down the order. And in the Constructors, 21 back now from Mercedes there as well. And you can see Alfa Romeo now the top Alfa team once again over AlphaTauri as well there. But that is going to do us for this video though, guys. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed, and we will be back next time out where we head to Singapore.